Hello, this is Domenico with Easynomics, and this will be a video looking at the theoretical reasons why monopoly has no supply curve. This will be part of all of my playlists for theory of the firm so that we can ensure that we illustrate our marginal cost curves for duopolies, monopolies, monopolistic competition as labeled with MC only as opposed to supply. I have this subconscious habit of labeling supply being equal to marginal cost, which is true for most cases, but within the theory of the firm, we have to be particularly careful not to do that for uncompetitive market structures. So a shout out to Joe from A Kaleidic World, which is a Facebook community for IB and A-level teachers for catching that, and now that I'm going to address that through this video. So here we have a video that will be part 1 of 2. I'll try to be as concise as possible to illustrate this. The second part of the video is really going to give 2 scenarios of a change in the elasticity of the monopoly demand curve to highlight how there is no direct or unique relationship between price and the quantity of supply. Thus, the monopoly does not have in the theoretical supply curve. They have a marginal cost curve, but it can't be considered a supply curve because we assume with a supply curve that it's tracking a positive relationship between price and the quantity of supply. So just for review, here we have graph A, the industry, for perfect competition, where yes, the supply curve is equal to our marginal cost of production. We have price on the y-axis and quantity on the x-axis. And we have a particular price set at P1 with a quantity supplied by the firm or firms, since this is the market supply within the industry, at Q1 at point A. And we know that with supply and the law of supply, that there is this positive relationship between price and quantity supply, that they move in the same direction. So if the market demand for the industry was to increase and cause an increase in price, let's say going from point A to point B, along the supply curve, that would cause the market price to increase from P1 to P2, which we can illustrate here. And in response, firms in the industry will increase their quantity supply from Q1 to Q2. Okay. What's the incentive for firms to do so? Well, initially, at a price of P1 and a quantity supplied of Q1, they have a producer surplus area of area A. And let's maybe highlight that. So they gain this producer surplus area equivalent to area A. And if price was to rise, then their producer surplus would also increase to area B, which we can also highlight. Let's use a different color. There we go. Okay, so there's the incentive for firms within the industry. If price rises from P1 to P2, they will increase their quantity supply and increase their marginal cost of production, taking on additional costs of production, employing more land, labor, and capital resources because they can capture more producer surplus. Originally at a price of P1, producer surplus is equal to area A. As price rises from P1 to P2, it increases to areas A plus B. They get more producer surplus and in addition, more total revenue. The initial total revenue is equal to P1 times Q1, and then it increases to area P, to total revenue 2, which is equal to a higher price of P2 times more output at Q2. So more total revenue, and in addition, more producer surplus. Producer surplus increases to areas A plus B. And that higher price, again, enables the firm to cover their additional costs of production so they can increase their output. And vice versa. If price was to fall from P2 to P1, then firms would reduce their output from Q2 to Q1, reduce it along their supply curve, fire excess resources, and move from point B back to point A, capturing the maximized producer surplus at a price of P1 of area A, and maximizing their total revenue at that price, let's say at P1 times Q1. Okay? So that is just review of what we already know. If we look at the firm within perfect competition, the firm will be a price taker. They will take the price set by the industry. And so a price of P1 for the firm here, P1, becomes perfectly elastic. And we can see that price is equal to demand, equal to marginal benefit, equal to average revenue, equal to marginal revenue. And we're going to assume that the objective of the firm is to maximize profit. So they'll produce where MR equals MC. So here's MC, here is MR, and they intersect at point A. So at point A, the firm in perfect competition is maximizing their profit, and they'll produce a quantity of supply at Q1. If the industry has a price rise from P1 to P2, we can illustrate that. The firm will take that price of P2, and P2 will equal D2 equal to marginal benefit, 2 equal to average revenue, 2 also equal to marginal revenue. And the firm will increase their quantity supply from point A to point B. Increasing their quantity supply, employing more resources, land, labor, and capital, and capturing more producer surplus and increasing output to Q2. So it holds within perfect competition that marginal cost is equal to supply in both the industry and for the firm, because we have that positive relationship between price and the quantity of supply. And vice versa, if price was to fall from P2 to P1, quantity supplied would decrease, and we'd have a movement along the demand curve, along the supply curve from point B to point A. So yes, within the industry, within perfect competition, supply is equal to our marginal costs of production. We can also note that price is equal to marginal cost for the firm. Here is price, and it's equal to the marginal costs of production. In addition, we can also highlight that price is equal to marginal revenue. At a price of P1, it is equal to MR, where the firm is maximizing profit. So we see an equivalent value between price and marginal costs, price and marginal revenue. What would be the force, again, causing the price to rise or fall within the industry? That would be our demand curve. So if I was to illustrate demand, here we'd have demand, D1, perhaps increasing to D2, causing that increase in price, or if demand was to fall, causing that decrease in price. So demand is the force that is changing the price within the industry. Let's compare that to a monopoly. So here we have a monopoly. We're going to illustrate our marginal cost curve. So we have it going down, and then the law of diminishing marginal return sets in. I'm going to carefully label this as marginal costs. Please ignore my error in other videos where I label that as MC equal to supply 1. That's why I'm creating this video, so we can rectify that. And then we're going to also illustrate our ATC curve, or average total cost curve. It goes down. Once it intersects with the marginal cost curve, it immediately starts to go up. That's our cost on average per unit for the firm producing something, either a good or a service. And then we're going to illustrate our relatively inelastic demand curve. So here's a particular point, and then I'll have my relatively inelastic demand curve. And demand is equal to marginal benefit, which is equal to the average revenue gained by the firm. And then we're going to have our marginal revenue curve cross the x-axis, and we'll label that MR1, marginal revenue 1. So here we have a firm that does not price discriminate, and because the firm does not price discriminate, there'll be a link to a separate video that goes into more detail about that. We see that AR is now greater than MR. All right, the firm does not price discriminate. So here we have a break. No longer is AR and MR equal to each other. AR is now greater than MR. And in order for the firm, the monopolist, to maximize profit, they're going to produce where MR equals MC. They're going to follow their marginal cost of production and stop when MR equals MC. So I'll label that, let's choose some colors that we can clearly see. I'll label this point C. That's our equilibrium for the monopolist. And that will set output at a quantity where they're maximizing profit. So this is quantity at profit, pi for profit, profit max. Okay. And they will price according to what consumers are willing and able to pay. So here's their demand curve. And that will be the price set by the monopolist. This will be their cost per unit. Okay, and then we can highlight that area as the abnormal profit that the monopolist is generating. Pi for abnormal profit. I'm going to label a couple other areas here. So we have point C, at point C, which is the equilibrium for the monopolist, where MR equals MC. They're maximizing profit. And here we have point A and point B being the costs of production. So here we see that there's something different happening. At that equilibrium, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, where the firm is maximizing profit, setting a quantity at quantity with profit being maximized, we see that now price is greater than marginal cost. All right, we can see price here is greater than the marginal costs at point B. The price at point A is greater than the marginal cost at point C. You can also argue that price is greater than marginal revenue. Again, at point A, this price is greater than the marginal revenue at point C. So because price is greater than marginal cost, that signals that the monopolist has market power. They have the power to determine price and set their output where they're maximizing profit. Thus, the firm has the market power and the ability to determine price. Thus, the firm has the power to maximize profit where MR equals MC, setting output at quantity profit max, setting a price of P1. And they are not responding to the needs and wants of society. They're allocatively inefficient. We can see that at point A, marginal benefit is greater than marginal cost. The firm is under allocating resources. If they were to produce where price equals marginal cost, that would set a point here where supply equals demand. A, B, C. Let's label this point D. The firm would be producing at point D, and that would set the price determined by market demand. All right, or if this was perfectly competitive, I'll call this price at perfect competition. And the quantity of output would be set at quantity of perfect competition, quantity with perfect competition. And here we'd see the firm continue to increase their quantity supply from quantity of profit max to quantity of perfect competition and respond to that higher price. And respond to that price within the industry. But the firm is not doing that. The firm is stopping where they maximize profit and setting price along their demand curve at point A. So we can't really say that the marginal cost curve is a supply curve. And in the second video, it's going to be really emphasized as to why that is the case, why there is no unique or direct relationship between price and quantity supply once you have a firm that has the market power to determine price. So that will be in the second video. Please watch out for that. If you have any questions, feel free to comment those questions below, and don't forget to subscribe and to like. Thank you so much.